And guys, here to get into No Country for Old Men, which is just insanely like, and I kind of look at this as like Cohen's kind of laid low for with like kind of just like over their art down, just a few other screwball comedy perspective, and then kind of start back with this kind of very Stanley Kubrickian influence kind of project. It's like they kind of add a lot of what they were doing with Fargo and Blood Simple, and kind of made it even more of an intense sort of just intensely directorial kind of product, and it really washes over as one of the greatest technical marvels of all time. As it conveys a lot of like Ingmar Bergman influence. I mean, in like the year, and we're like in the early '80s, and it's just kind of feels like it actually is kind of have a bit of like I associate this a lot with like that. There's like Shining and Blue Velvet, a lot of '80s kind of horror, and it's also just like crazy to me. Like the spiritual plane of series of There Will Be Blood is just this is an incredible thriller from start to finish. I mean, Ivy Barnum is just absolutely horrifying in this project, and just like it's very much a similar feeling to how Death is in the Seventh Seal, where it's just absolutely horrifying at every moment. And you have a good, the bad, the ugly formula working out here, just like in Fargo, where you see the good in Tommy Lee Jones, you see the bad in Ivy Barnum, and then you see the ugly in a sense in Josh Brolin. And just looking at all this is just amazing. And all the side characters are just amazing as well. Like especially Kelly MacDonald, I love all this from start to finish. And Coen's just wonderfully convey a real personification about evil forces that are dominating in life, and it's very atmospheric in how it gets there. In so many ways, it's so original that it really is one of the most ahead of its time projects ever made. It really is a film that I feel like this just lays the foundation. I feel like really kickstarted from 2010s onward, where it's just like it's a big time, subtle, let the directing do the talking kind of like feeling. This stuff, but there's no soundtrack to it. It's just really on its own kind of thriller perspective, which is just an embodiment of almost just like every great thriller. Like, rolled into one, and one of the best, most satisfying cinematic depictions ever made. This is really perfect, and it's just this is just what Coen's evolution is just actually watching over one of the most mystifying of all time and what they were going through, and what they were seeing, and this is just one that particularly resonates in the way that it's directed. Like it really does transcend the novel. And I read the novel as well. I around watching this, and I realized that this is like the film that just is like like I've seen this in like even like Nicholas Winding Refn. Like it feels like it all like this film is just connecting so much of the drive kind of perspective. Or it says again, it's like the film is doing the talking here, and it's just so well paced. There's so many rewatchable scenes, like a lot of influence from like Alfred Hitchcock, Gene Pierre Melville, John Carpenter. Like it's cautionary tale. It's ultimate cautionary tale in its own kind of way. It's very different from how in the way that it's directed in a sense from like the other one. Like, it's kind of like a grand opera. Well, this is more of just like ambient, almost you could say. This is very much like a existential thriller. It really feels like again extremely early '80s kind of sense of dread at the point where it's like in this and every book kind of show like most horrifying non-horror films of all time. Perfect cinematography, just perfectly made. And it looks like it observes how change is an intimidating force for people to face it. It's like facing anything this unpredictable and facing a psychotic perspective. It's just one of the greatest films ever made. It's just there's just so many layers to it. There's so much incredible perspective from start to finish, and it's an all-time wonderful film just conveying, particularly just cinematography that holds up time. It's like Jones just collaborating with Roger Deakins just on a unique level with this one. I mean, it just really is on a whole level. It's almost like the most beautifully looking thriller I've ever seen, perhaps. It conveys like the lonely depths of like the Western atmosphere in a complete force. Like this one was very much like breaking down a lot of what's worn out in a lot of ways, and this is just perfect filmmaking from start to finish. Every rewatch, it really is significantly better because it's just like I think this is just going to live on for timelessly. As an ultimate masterpiece of achievement of filmmaking. It's just like the Coens keep transcending themselves here. It's like I think they kind of did all their like looking at this next all their '90s work. It is a different kind of outlook, but it's just entirely like it's like again it's like this and there we go. We're in a very like Stanley Kubrickian kind of like they were bringing up their inner Kubrick and kind of evolving those perspectives. But just wearing its heart on its sleeve, like it's very like emotional in its storytelling, very subtle. Like I mean, extremely subtle and very slow paced. And it's just really one of the most intense, like of all films ever made. Like this is really one of the most intense I've ever seen. Every time we watch it, it's just like the way that's paced out. It's just it really crawls under the skin at a very original level. It's just experimental perspective. So this is just perfectly recommended from start to finish.